Hey, hello, John Dove here from the Advocacy Club. We've just had our public speaking session at the May Advocacy Club in 2023. The theme of tonight's session was the use of notes in relation to public speaking. So I've been watching some of our members deliver their presentations tonight. So I'm going to give some feedback based on what I've seen. I'll give some general feedback in relation to public speaking and also some more specific feedback in relation to the use of notes themselves. So I'll start with the use of notes and what I've seen. So first things first, when it comes to the use of notes, of course, when delivering a presentation, you don't want to read the entire thing from a script. Problem with that, I mean, there are multiple problems. The key thing is it can be quite distracting for your audience because you've got no eye contact whatsoever. So if you sit there and read from a script, you've got no eye contact with the audience and it's hard to build rapport. And that's one of the key things that you need when it comes to a presentation or public speaking. You need the audience to feel almost like you're having sort of a conversation with them, and having a full set of notes and reading from a script distracts from that. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with maybe having a script initially while you're practicing, and then once you become more familiar with your presentation, break it down to maybe a series of bullet points so that you can have that on a lectern in front of you or maybe to the side. And every now and again, maybe before a certain paragraph, you can glance across just to see where you're up to and incorporate that into your presentation. Of course, sometimes you might be delivering a presentation that's quite factual, and you could be using, a lot of statistics. There could be numbers, or maybe even you might be quoting from academic articles, for example. So we had one person tonight that delivered a presentation that relied upon a study from an academic article. And what you can do is if you're going to incorporate pieces of evidence from that article, for example, maybe a definition of a specific topic, there's nothing wrong with you reading that part from a script. Because, of course, if you're going to be quoting verbatim from somebody else's work and you might be citing a sentence or two, you're never going to remember that word for word. So there's nothing wrong with you looking down at a presentation, looking down at a script to remember that. So those are just some thoughts from myself in relation to the use of notes. So in terms of the presentations themselves, so I've listened to some really interesting talks tonight. One of the key things that I've noticed is you need to, or one of the key things that we really need to think about as public speakers or when we're doing presentations is we need to grab the attention of the audience right away. And one thing that somebody did really well, and I talk about this all the time, was the use of the rhetorical question. So what the speaker did was she cited 4 different people and said, what is it that links these 4 people together? There were 4 people that are 4 celebrities that have got nothing in common. So as the audience, you're scratching your head there thinking, what is it that links these 4 people together? And straight away, you're chomping at the bit. You want it for more. You think, hang on, I want to know the answer to this. So if you can really pique the interest of your audience at the outset by asking a question that gets them thinking about your topic and makes them want to know the answer, and therefore they want to listen to more, you've pulled them in at the start. Another presentation I listened to was quite a stark one, actually, and had some shocking information in there. And I think that some of that, maybe one of those shocking statistics could have been incorporated in the opening sentence. Maybe something shocking that the audience isn't expecting. Throw one of those shocking statistics into the opening statement, the opening sentence rather. And that's how you can open with a bold statement that shocks your audience and once again makes them wanting more. So the key thing is think about a way that you can open your presentation and have your audience effectively on the edge of their seats. Then once you go into the presentation itself, you need to present in a way that's sort of easily digestible for your audience. So the best way to do that is to present in a nice, slow manner. So many of us speak very quickly, myself included. So when it comes to presenting and public speaking, if you are one of those people that naturally speaks quite quickly, think about bringing the pace down. So as a general rule, 100 to 120 words is about right. So for something like this, if it's 6 minutes long, you're probably looking for 600, maybe slightly more words in your presentation. And the key benefit of that, the key benefit of speaking slowly is it's very easy for your audience to follow, particularly if you've got a speech that's got a lot of heavy information in there, a lot of numbers, a lot of statistics. It's easy for your audience to follow. And secondly, if you speak slowly, you sound like you are an authority on the matter. So it just gives you that air of authority when you speak slower. The second thing that you need to really think about, and something that I saw used quite well tonight, was how you vary the pitch and pace when it comes to your presentation. So you can vary the pitch and pace. It keeps your speech entertaining, and it avoids you sounding quite monotone. Something you should be quite keen to avoid is try and avoid filler words. Now, of course, you won't always notice that if you're delivering a presentation. So think about that when you've got somebody else who might be listening to you, who can feed back, or if you record yourself, and you'll notice if you have some filler words in there. So if you've got those filler words, think consciously in your day-to-day life, maybe daily conversations, you'll think about those filler words. And that's a good way for you to go about trying to eliminate those. The other point that I can make in relation to adding sort of an air of authority to your speech and giving it more effect is that when you make a significant point, use a pause at the end of a sentence. So if you've made a really significant point, just pause. It only needs to be for 2, maybe 3 seconds, but it just lets that significant point land. It lets it sort of percolate in the brain of your audience, lets them think about it before you move on. Because if you've made a significant point, something that's, something that your audience needs to think about, and straight away you've jumped onto the next point, it maybe doesn't have quite the same effect. So any significant points, really go for that pause there at the end. And then finally, your conclusion really should bring everything together. It should be tying everything up in a nice bow, and try and finish with a short, snappy sentence at the end, something that's quite memorable, and something that your audience can take away, so that your speech doesn't fizzle out. So I hope that you've found those tips helpful.